Chapter 11. Now we're back where we started. Xanthippus was examining Udo's cloak, which he had spread out in front of him while he carefully searched the lining. The boys had stormed in on him excitedly, like the Greeks into the Trojan fortress, and thrown the cloak on the table. Now they waited impatiently to hear what he would say in his disappointment at the missing letter. Xanthippus had been sitting at the desk in his study a little while before. A sad turn of affairs this is. No letter, after all, Xanthippus said. He fell silent and scratched his beard thoughtfully. Outdoors the district fire brigade clattered past, clanging shrilly. There was a fire every day somewhere in Rome. No one ever got excited about them except those whose houses were going up in flames. The clanging faded in the distance. A moment later the hurried clicking of the hobnailed boots of policemen could be heard on the pavement. The guard troops were probably running behind the fire brigade. The boys didn't look out the window once. Udo has been deceiving all of us, Caius said. Caius hadn't liked slaves ever since one had put a frog in his bed and another had leapt at him with a devil's mask on his face. Of course those things had been done on All Fools' Day, which was celebrated every year at the end of December. Nonsense, Xanthippus said. Udo hasn't lied. You did find the cloak, didn't you? It's more likely that Udo, without knowing it, lost the letter when he was running away. Publius, from what I've heard, you're a famous runner. Run to the cave and bring Udo here. I must speak to him. Master Xanthos, Julius said. It's better for Udo not to be seen. Maybe the ex-gladiator is looking everywhere for him. We could carry Udo in a sedan chair, Antonia suggested. There are all kinds of chairs for rent at Emilius Bridge. It's a lot cheaper if you carry them yourself. That will take too long, Xanthippus said. He stood up, his mind obviously closed. We'll go to Udo, he said. Get me my stick. The boys scattered and looked everywhere for the stick, but their efforts were unnecessary. The hanging between the schoolroom and Xanthippus's apartment was pushed aside, and a strange creature knocked on the archway. The creature had a rag wrapped around his head. Only his nose was exposed. May I come in, noble master? The creature asked. Udo? The boys cried in surprise. Come in, Udo, Xanthippus said. Your arrival is like the answer to a call. Udo tore off the rag. I put this thick cloth over my head so I wouldn't be recognized on the way, he explained. It wasn't exactly pleasant in the heat, but I prefer the warmth of life to the cold of Hades. Udo, Mucius said sternly, we couldn't find a letter in your cloak. That's why I came here, young master, Udo said. You mentioned that you were going to bring me some food before coming here with the cloak. Then I would have shown you where the letter was. The letter is in the cloak? Rufus said. It's sewn into the collar, and it's not written on papyrus, but on linen, so that it can't be felt through the lining. Oh, that's it, Xanthippus grumbled, and he coughed. He seemed to be somewhat annoyed that he himself hadn't hit upon the idea. Flavius, go get a knife from the kitchen. Flavius dashed out of the room. Why did you sew the letter on the inside? Julius asked. It's a long journey from the Rhine to the Tiber, young master. If I'd lost the letter, I would have been lost myself. Of course, I didn't suspect at the time that I was carrying around my own death warrant. Good, Xanthippus said. Now go to the kitchen and get yourself something from the pantry to eat. You must be hungry. Thank you, Udo said. Suddenly enlivened, he rushed into the kitchen. I'm starved too, Caius said. Me too, said Publius. You can eat at home afterward, Xanthippus said. I'm not running an inn here. Udo has no home. I don't want anything to eat before I know what's in the letter, Mucius said. That's right, Julius, and Antonius agreed. Xanthippus didn't allow matters to rush ahead so swiftly, however. He placed the letter on the table and first studied it from the outside. It's folded into a perfect square, he said with satisfaction. First of all, I have to check the seal. He produced a round, polished emerald out of the drawer and stuck it in his right eye and bent over the letter. The seal is genuine, he announced after a while. I recognize the Polino family's coat of arms, an eagle with 2 crossed swords beneath it. That's the brand on Udo's arm, too, Antonius called out. Xanthippus broke the seal and unfolded the letter. He placed the emerald in the drawer and closed it. All this time the boys were bursting with curiosity. By Pluto, they wanted finally to hear whom the conspirators wanted dead. Xanthippus read the letter to himself, then he looked up. No name of a famous senator who was supposed to be murdered is mentioned in the letter, he said. I will read it to you. Dear friend, go to the Viminal. Across from the statue of Niobe lies the villa in which Cicero lived. Eusippides. Don't forget, dear friend, before you set off, start at the temple of Castor and Pollux. Xanthippus dropped the letter. That's all it says. Great Jupiter, Mucius moaned. Now we're back where we started.